Hey, so this one's been a long time coming. Some might even say it's overdue. But Series 3 of Downton Abbey doesn't even premiere here in the States until January 6th, so I'm gonna say we're right on time. This is The Boyfriend's Guide to Downton Abbey Series 2, Part 2 of 2.
Thank you all for coming to my shows, you're sexy.
Before we get right into it, I should mention that since the last Boyfriend's Guide, I've gone from being the boyfriend to the fiancé, but the series is still gonna be called The Boyfriend's Guide so I don't leave out any other boyfriends. Got that? Good. We have old British ladies hurling passive-aggressive barbs at each other to talk about. So when we left off, Ethel had just found out she was pregnant with Officer Pretty Much Tom Selleck's baby. Well, some time has passed, Ethel has had the baby, and Mrs. Hughes is sneaking food for her because Officer Mustache Guy wants nothing to do with her. Back on the front lines, Matthew and William have been injured. Matthew is paralyzed from the waist down, and William has damaged his lungs and doesn't have long to live. Now, remember how Daisy let William think that they were sweethearts so that it would keep his spirits up before he left for the war? Well, now she feels obligated to marry him on his deathbed. See, Mrs. Patmore continued pressuring her to do so, so she does. And that's like 500 flavors of awkward. Remember how Daisy told Edith about Mary and Mr. Pamuk and how Edith told Vera and then Vera used that knowledge to blackmail Bates into going back with her? Well, because Mary's fiancé Mr. Carlisle owns a big newspaper, he's able to offer Vera the exclusive on her story and then decide not to publish it. Even though this at first looks like he's protecting Mary, he doesn't really want to protect her as much as he wants to own her, and he lords that knowledge over her constantly.
You have given me the power to destroy you, and don't think I won't use it.
Then at one point Vera turns up dead, poisoned, and most people seem to think Bates did it. With good reason, because I don't know if you remember Bates' wife, but she's kind of a horrible human being. It's also pretty likely that she killed herself, but, well, you'll see. Back to Ethel and her baby. Mrs. Hughes arranges for her to meet Tom Selleck's family, and at first they don't want anything to do with her kid, but then later they do. If Ethel's storyline doesn't feel like a contrived diversion away from the larger Mary and Matthew arc, or even the larger Bates and Anna arc, then hold on to your Napoleon-ass looking hat. See, there's another arc where they hire a new maid named Jane with whom Robert has an affair, and we're all like, God damn it, Robert, how could you? But you know what? I'm not even gonna get into that. I hate Jane, I hate how Robert handled the whole situation, so Jane, you're not even gonna be part of this video. Sorry. Then, totally out of left field, this Canadian officer who's been badly disfigured shows up claiming to be one of the nephews that died in the beginning of the series. It's around this moment that the show removes any doubt that this isn't a soap opera in an awesomely shark-jumping moment of obvious character exposition when Matthew spells it all out saying he's
The man who would displace me as heir. If he's alive, then I am no longer the future Earl of Grantham.
And popcorn gifts all around. You get a popcorn gift. And you get a popcorn gif. And you get a popcorn gif. If the show ever introduces a long-lost evil twin who's just awoken from a coma, then our collection of soap opera cliches will be a complete set. Back to the story. So you know how Matthew is engaged to Lavinia Swire?
Who?
Lavinia Swire.
Her?
Exactly. Well, at one point Matthew and Mary have a moment alone together. They dance. Oh yeah, his legs work again. Long story. Anyway, so they dance and confess that they're more or less stuck in relationships that they don't really want to be in. They kiss, and then realize that they weren't really alone, and someone has seen everything.
Her?
Yes. I'm gonna take this moment to kind of break the fourth wall a little bit and mention that when I was writing this episode, I thought that my Arrested Development joke was an original, but then after looking at the internet, I found the Arrested Downton Tumblr and found that they had already made some of the same jokes as I did. So check out the links in the show notes. Enjoy. Back to the show. Anyway, around this time, Tom Selleck's parents finally decide that they want to take Ethel's kid off her hands and they come to some sort of an agreement.
Never mind all that. Let's get down to business.
Business?
Ha! Business. Then at one point everybody gets real sick with the Spanish flu.
When cholera broke out, half the guests were dead before they left the ballroom.
Thank you, Mama. That's cheered us up no end.
Lavinia reveals to Matthew that she heard everything when he and Mary were dancing, and she's like, hey, dude, I'm dying. You love her anyway, so like, go be happy. Then she croaks. I mean, I could say more about her death, but if you've been watching the show, then you know that Matthew lingers on that for longer than is good for anybody. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. So Sybil nearly elopes with Branson, but Mary talks her into coming back home. And at one point, Bates and Anna got married, but then Bates is arrested. Some more time passes. It's Christmas. There are some guests who have this plot that's confined to just the events of that one episode and really aren't worth getting into. Anna visits Bates in prison.
No touching! No touching! No touching! No touching!
Anna visits Bates in prison.
No touching.
Bates goes to trial, avoids a death sentence, but still gets life. After Lord Grantham witnesses Carlisle being an ass to Mary, he wonders why she'd want to stay with him at all. Cora tells him all about Mr. Pamuk, and he confronts his daughter about it. Then Matthew punches Carlisle and they throw him out.
I doubt we'll meet again.
Do you promise?
And then, Matthew and Mary finally get together. Alright, that's more or less everything that's happened on Downton Abbey so far. The war ended too?
War is over.
Sorry to shoehorn that detail into there. As long as you haven't felt like you've totally lost the plot from here, you should be all caught up and ready to start Series 3. That's all we've got today. If you like what you've seen here, then please don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe.